a nuclear reactor for your home, marketed as the Enron Egg.
Hmm.
It sounds like sci-fi, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, it was making the rounds online as the Enron Egg right in the middle of CES.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that huge annual tech show where companies announce all the new
All
gadgets?
right, right. Yeah.
So for anyone who needs a refresher, Enron was that company,
Yeah.
infamous for that massive accounting scandal and bankruptcy back in 2001.
Oh, yeah. 2001, that was a big one.
Huge, yeah. So to see the name Enron pop up again,
Yeah.
especially tied to nuclear power,
Yeah.
well, it's definitely a surprise.
It's really fascinating how this whole thing plays on our memory of Enron.
Yeah.
I mean, their collapse was a huge scandal tied to all those shady accounting practices.
Right.
So to see the name Enron now
Yeah.
associated with nuclear power, of
Yeah.
all things,
Yeah.
it's bound to raise eyebrows.
Oh, it definitely raised eyebrows. They rolled out this whole thing online
Really?
with a website that looked straight out of the early 2000s,
Oh, wow.
complete with Enron's old logo
Uh-huh.
and the tagline, "Nuclear you can trust."
Oh, my God.
The irony is
I know.
amazing.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
They even put together a fake product launch video
Oh, yeah.
with executives hyping up this egg-shaped reactor
Yeah.
to a seemingly enthusiastic audience.
Yeah, and to make it even weirder,
Yeah.
they got Connor Gatos,
What?
the guy behind the Birds Aren't Real movement,
Oh, wow.
to play the role of Enron's CEO.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Talk about blurring the lines between reality and absurdity.
It really is.
It's like birds aren't real all over again.
Yeah.
You know how that movement plays with irony and satire
Right.
to make you question what's real and what's not?
Yeah, and by bringing in Connor Gatos, they added this whole other layer of irony to it,
Yeah.
making it even harder to tell truth from fiction.
Right, so now you might be thinking,
Yeah.
how could anyone fall for this?
Right.
But that's like they tapped into this specific kind of internet humor,
Oh, yeah.
the kind that thrives on that blurring of lines
Right.
between reality and absurdity.
Uh-huh.
And you see that reflected in the online reactions, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Some people totally got the joke.
Yeah.
They were posting memes,
Mm-hmm.
making quips about Enron eggs over easy.
I saw those.
But then you have others who genuinely thought it was real.
Oh, wow.
And they were asking where to order one.
Really?
I know. So that raises the question.
Yeah.
Why do some people fall for these hoaxes?
Right.
Especially when on the surface it seems so out there.
Well, there are a few things at play here.
Yeah.
I think first it plays on our anxieties.
Hmm.
Energy is a hot button issue right now
Yeah.
with all the concerns about climate change and rising costs.
Yeah, for sure.
So this idea of a cheap, clean energy source for your home,
Yeah.
even if it sounds crazy,
Right.
can tap into those anxieties and make people more willing to believe it.
Yeah, it's like they're promising a solution.
Yeah.
That seems too good to be true. And then there's the nostalgia factor, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That early 2000s aesthetic,
Yeah.
the Enron connection,
Yeah.
it all caps into this shared cultural memory,
Yeah.
even if it's a memory of a huge scandal.
Exactly. It creates this sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
And that can lower our guard.
Right. And let's not forget,
Yeah.
Enron already had a history of deception.
Oh, yeah.
So in a way,
Yeah.
it almost makes
Oh,
sense
I know.
that people would think they'd try something this audacious.
Right.
So it's playing on our emotions, our anxieties, even our sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think there's got to be more to it.
Right.
It's not like everyone is rushing out to buy a home nuclear reactor.
Right. That's where the psychology of online misinformation comes in.
Okay, yeah.
We live in a world where information is constantly bombarding us
Mm-hmm.
from all directions.
Yeah,
And we don't always have the time or the mental bandwidth
right.
to critically evaluate everything we see.
So we take shortcuts.
Yeah, exactly.
We rely on these mental rules of thumb
Uh-huh.
to make quick judgments about what's credible and what's not.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And those heuristics can be easily exploited.
Okay, how so?
Well, for example, we tend to trust information that comes from sources we perceive as authoritative
Yeah.
or that confirms our existing beliefs.
Hmm.
So if you're already distrustful of traditional energy sources,
Uh-huh.
the Enron Egg might seem like a viable alternative.
Right, even if it doesn't logically make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's the whole social proof phenomenon.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you see other people sharing something online,
Mm-hmm.
especially people in your own social circle,
Yeah,
you're more likely to believe it's true.
absolutely. We're social creatures.
Yeah.
And we look to others for cues on how to behave and
Uh-huh.
what to believe.
Right, so if you see your friends and family sharing that Enron Egg website,
Uh-huh.
it makes it seem more legitimate.
It does, even if they're just sharing it for a laugh.
Yeah, but let's be clear here.
Yeah,
This is a hoax.
right.
They even have a disclaimer on the website
Oh, okay.
stating that it's for entertainment purposes only.
Good.
Plus, there's this acrostic poem on the homepage.
Really?
It spells out Enron,
Oh, wow.
and the R stands for repentant,
Yeah.
and the N stands for nice.
Very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, but that disclaimer,
Right.
it doesn't always register with everyone.
Yeah.
People skim online content, and they miss those subtle clues.
Yeah.
It's like they say,
Yeah.
a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes.
Yeah.
So what was the point of all this? Was
Well.
it just for laughs, or was there a more strategic goal?
Well, when you click that pre-order button,
Yeah.
it actually leads you to a newsletter sign-up.
Oh, really?
And we dug a little deeper and found out that a media strategy company called Stu Loser & Co. is behind the whole thing.
So maybe it's not just a joke.
Right.
Could this be a clever marketing ploy?
Yeah.
A way to generate buzz and collect email addresses?
It could be. Or maybe it's a commentary on the state of online discourse, how easily we can be manipulated
Yeah.
by these slick presentations and viral content.
It's probably a bit of both, right?
Yeah, I think so. They've definitely created something thought-provoking,
Yeah.
something that sparks conversation.
Yeah.
And in a world saturated with information, that's no easy feat.
So here's where we transition from the world of internet hoaxes
Okay.
to the real world of nuclear energy.
Right.
Because believe it or not, this Enron Egg hoax
Yeah.
landed at a very interesting time.
Oh, really?
In the real world, there's this quiet revolution happening in the energy sector. Tech giants,
Yeah.
realizing the limitations of renewables are quietly pouring money into new, safer forms of nuclear power.
Interesting.
They're betting on things like small modular reactors,
Okay.
SMRs for short, and fusion power,
Wow.
which address a lot of the concerns about traditional nuclear plants.
That makes sense. The demand for clean energy is only going to increase. As the world grapples with climate change, and while renewables have made huge strides, they still face challenges like intermittency and storage. Nuclear power, on the other hand, can provide a reliable baseload source of energy that's carbon-free.
So while the Enron Egg is a joke,
Right.
the idea of nuclear power playing a bigger role in our energy future is very real.
Absolutely. But of course, there are still challenges.
Of course.
Right.
What are some of those?
Well, nuclear power has always been controversial.
Yeah.
There are concerns about safety, waste disposal, and the potential for proliferation.
Right.
And those concerns are amplified by the memory of past accidents,
Yeah.
like Chernobyl and Fukushima,
Right.
which really loom large in the public imagination.
It's like this shadow hanging over the industry.
Yeah.
Even though there have been advancements in terms of safety and technology.
Right.
And that's what makes this whole Enron Egg hoax even more intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Could something like this,
Yeah.
even though it's satire,
Uh-huh.
actually contribute to public distrust
Right.
in real advancements in nuclear energy? It's a good question.
It is, because even if people know it's fake,
Yeah.
that image of a nuclear reactor in your home
Right.
might stick with them and reinforce those fears.
Yeah. It's like planting a seed of doubt.
Exactly.
Even if you're trying to do the opposite.
Right. So it is.
Yeah.
It kind of raises the question, can a joke, even one as outlandish as this Enron Egg, actually influence how we think about these real-world issues?
Right, because even if we consciously know it's fake,
Yeah.
does it still like seep into our subconscious and color our perceptions?
It's tricky. Satire is meant to make us think critically, to question our assumptions,
Right.
but it can also backfire,
Yeah.
especially with complex and sensitive topics. Like someone who's already a little apprehensive about nuclear power might see this Enron Egg and think, see, I told you it's dangerous.
Right.
Now they're trying to put it in our homes. Even if they know it's a joke,
Yeah.
that image might stick with them.
It's like planting a seed of doubt,
Yeah,
even if you're trying to do the opposite.
exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we navigate this?
Yeah. How do we navigate this world of satire and misinformation?
Right.
Especially with something as important as energy.
Well, I think it starts with media literacy.
All right.
We need to be more discerning about the information we consume online.
Right.
Ask yourself, who created this?
Yeah.
What's their agenda? Is this information corroborated by other sources?
So don't just take things at face value.
Right?
Do your own digging. Check those sources.
Yes, and be aware of your own biases.
Okay.
What are your preconceived notions about nuclear energy? Where did those ideas come from?
Yeah.
Are they based on facts or emotions? Personal experiences? Or maybe media portrayals?
It makes me think about all the other stuff we see online.
Oh, yeah.
Not just about energy.
Right.
How do we even begin to sort through all of it?
It's like learning a new language. The language of critical thinking.
Okay.
And like any language, it takes practice.
Right.
Start by questioning everything. Look for evidence.
Yeah.
Consider different perspectives. Don't be afraid to change your mind if the evidence suggests you should.
So it's not just about being skeptical.
Yeah.
It's about being open to new information.
Oh, yes.
To having your views challenged.
Absolutely. And it's also about being aware of the emotional manipulation.
Okay.
That often goes hand in hand with misinformation.
Right.
Think about the Enron Egg. That's on our anxieties about energy, our nostalgia for a bygone era, even our sense of humor. All of these things can make us more susceptible to believing something, even if it seems totally outlandish on the surface.
It's almost like a magic trick.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
They distract you with flashy lights and funny jokes. And before you know it, you've bought into the illusion.
Yeah. So the more we understand how misinformation works, the better equipped we are to resist it.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations like we're having are so important.
Right.
We need to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Share our skepticism. Point out the flaws in the logic. Expose those emotional manipulation tactics.
But it's not just about debunking misinformation.
No, you're right.
It's about promoting accurate information, too.
Absolutely.
Helping people understand the nuances of these complex issues like energy.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's where the real opportunity lies.
Okay.
Instead of just reacting to misinformation, we need to be proactive in shaping the narrative. Tell compelling stories about the potential of clean energy.
Right.
About the innovations happening in the nuclear sector. About the solutions that are already out there.
Because facts and figures alone aren't always enough.
No, they're not.
To persuade people.
Right.
We need to appeal to their emotions.
Yeah.
Connect with them on a human level.
You're exactly right. We need to make the case for nuclear energy in a way that resonates with people's values and aspirations.
Right.
Show them that it's not just about technology. It's about creating a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
This Enron Egg thing, as silly as it is a reminder that we hold the power.
Right.
We decide what information to trust, what technologies to support.
Exactly.
It's about being informed citizens.
Yes.
Not just passive consumers.
I couldn't agree more. It's about taking ownership of our energy future.
Yeah.
Demanding better from our leaders, making informed choices that align with our values.
Yeah.
And that starts with honest conversations about the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Now, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to circle back to the real world of nuclear energy.
Right.
We've talked about the Enron Egg hoax.
Right.
The psychology of misinformation. The need for critical thinking.
Yeah.
But what are the actual tangible things happening in the nuclear sector right now?
Well, there are several promising developments.
Okay, like what?
One is the rise of small modular reactors, or SMRs.
Okay.
These are much smaller than traditional nuclear plants, which makes them cheaper and faster to build.
Right.
They can also be factory produced and transported to different locations.
So instead of these massive centralized power plants, we could have smaller, more localized reactors.
Yeah.
Maybe even integrated into existing infrastructure.
Yeah, you got it.
And because they're smaller and more modular, they're inherently safer.
Yes. They're designed with passive safety features that rely on natural forces, like gravity and convection, to cool the reactor core in case of an emergency, reducing the risk of meltdowns.
So that addresses one of the biggest concerns about nuclear power.
It does.
The fear of a catastrophic accident.
Exactly. And it also makes them less attractive targets for terrorism or sabotage.
So we talked about small modular reactors. What else is happening out there in the nuclear world?
Another exciting development is the progress being made in fusion power.
Fusion power?
Yeah. Unlike fission, which splits atoms apart, fusion combines them, releasing huge amounts of energy.
So it's like the same reaction?
It's the same reaction that powers the sun.
Wow, so it has the potential.
It has the potential to be a limitless source of clean energy.
Okay, fusion power. Well, that's pretty futuristic.
It does.
How close are we to actually making it a reality?
It's still early stages,
Okay.
but there have been some big breakthroughs in recent years.
Like what?
Scientists have been able to achieve sustained fusion reactions.
Wow.
And they're working on ways to scale up the technology and make it commercially viable.
So it's not just sci-fi anymore.
Right.
It could actually happen.
It could happen in our lifetime.
Wow. So if we can actually crack the code on fusion power,
yeah,
it would be a game changer.
Oh, yeah, a total game changer for the energy sector.
For sure, because it would address...
It would address so many of the concerns around traditional nuclear power.
Right, like
waste disposal and the risk of proliferation.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right?
No waste, no risk of meltdowns,
Yeah.
limitless energy. What's the catch?
Well, the main challenge is technical.
Okay.
Achieving sustained fusion reactions requires insanely high temperatures and pressures.
Yeah.
And containing that energy is a major engineering challenge.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like scientists are working on it.
Oh, yeah. Scientists are working on solutions. And the field is attracting a lot of investment from both governments and private companies.
So there's hope for the future of nuclear power.
Absolutely. There is. It's important to remember that nuclear energy is already a major source of clean energy.
It is.
Around the world. In fact, it's the second largest source of low-carbon electricity after hydropower.
Okay.
And with these advancements in technology like SMRs and fusion, nuclear has the potential to play an even bigger role in our transition to a sustainable energy future.
What about public perception?
Right.
I mean, there's still a lot of fear and skepticism out there.
Yeah, that's a crucial challenge.
How do we overcome that?
Well, that's where communication is key.
Okay.
We need to have these open and honest conversations about the risks and benefits of nuclear energy, address people's concerns, provide them with accurate information.
Yeah, and tell those stories.
Yes, tell the stories of the scientists, the engineers, the communities that are working to make nuclear power safer and more sustainable.
It's funny, we started this deep dive talking about a hoax.
I know, it's interesting, right?
This internet meme that plays on our anxieties about nuclear power.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the real potential of this technology.
It is quite a journey.
To solve some of the world's most pressing challenges.
It highlights the importance of critical thinking, discerning fact from fiction, being informed citizens when it comes to issues that really affect us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway here?
I think the key message is that nuclear energy is a complex and nuanced issue.
For sure.
It's not a silver bullet, but it's also not this big, scary boogeyman that some people make it out to be.
Right. It has the potential.
It has huge potential to be a powerful tool in the fight against climate change. But it's really important that we approach it with a critical eye. That we demand transparency, accountability, and that we engage in thoughtful conversations about its role in our energy future.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We should.
In this deep dive.
Yeah.
The Enron Egg hoax, the psychology of misinformation, and the real-world advancements and challenges of nuclear energy.
It is a lot.
It is.
But hopefully it's given everyone some food for thought.
For sure. And
hopefully some curiosity, too, to keep exploring these topics. Do your own research. Ask questions. Form your own informed opinions.
Because ultimately, the decisions we make about energy, they'll shape the future of our planet.
They will.
And those decisions should be based on knowledge.
Yes.
Not on fear.
Absolutely. It's time to move beyond the hype and hysteria and engage in a thoughtful, evidence-based conversation about nuclear power and its role in a sustainable energy future.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive.
It does.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
We hope you found it enlightening.
We did too.
And we'll catch you on the next one.